right, fifth grade. Today we're going to learn about life cycles. So we're going to be talking about several different life cycles. We'll do bird, we'll do an amphibian, a couple of insects, both complete and incomplete metamorphosis, and then we'll talk a little bit about mammals as well. So what is a life cycle? So a life cycle is made up of the stages that occur over an animal's lifetime. It has no end, so we draw it as a cycle, because even though the end of one animal, so obviously individual animals will die and their life cycle will end, but oftentimes new organisms are being born at the exact same time, so other lives are beginning. So we tend to represent this as a continuous cycle. The process by which new young are made to replace those that will die is called reproduction. And to reproduce means to make more of one's own kind. So basically, organisms reproduce to make more organisms just like themselves. We're going to start with life cycles of a bird. So an egg is the first stage of life cycle for birds. We're going to take a chicken as our example. So a chicken lays about 1 egg per day, but not all of those eggs go on to produce chicks. For example, many of the eggs are never fertilized. For example, the eggs that you buy at the grocery store were probably never fertilized, and even if they had been left in the nest, they would not have been able to turn into baby chickens. We're going to label just the parts of a chicken egg here right now. So first, right here, we have the outermost layer. This is called the shell. Then we have this little dot. That's going to be the embryo, or the part that will actually grow to form the baby chick. This is my favorite part of a chicken egg. It's a little rope-like structure that keeps the yolk in the middle. So if you've ever had a hard-boiled egg and you should stop to wonder, why is the yolk always perfectly in the center? Isn't that weird, right? Like, shouldn't gravity make it fall to the bottom or rest on the side? Bet you never thought about that before, huh? So somehow the yolk stays right in the middle, and that's because there's this little rope-like structure here that connects it. Now, it doesn't look like it's connected in our drawing because it's actually connected to this little membrane right here, but this rope is called the chalaza. So not only does it have a cool job, it has a fun name. So that's the chalaza. This is pointing to the white of the egg. So if you've ever made an egg, you notice part of it is white and part of it is yellow. The white part of the egg is called the albumen. And if you've been paying attention in Latin class, you'll remember that albus means white. So it's just Latin word for white. Then we have the yellow material, which we know is called the yolk. So all eggs have yolk. It serves as a source of nutrients for the chick when it's growing. And then right down here, we have something called the air sac. And the air sac is where the little chick is going to poke its beak into when it's about ready to hatch, so it can get a breath of oxygen and have enough air to be able to force its way out through the shell. A chicken egg, specifically, takes about 21 days to hatch. Different species of birds take different lengths of time. If you're curious, I would encourage you to just look it up by bird. They all take a different number of days. So we're going to go over the process for the chicken egg specifically. So here I have a little diagram of what the chicken egg looks like when it's developing. You can follow along with that as I go through sort of a day-by-day summary for the egg. So I'm just going to hit some milestones for the chicken egg. We're not going to go over every day because I don't want this to take that long. So at first, the chicken just starts off as what we would call a germinal disc or an embryo. So it looks like just a little white circle in the middle of the yolk. Already by day 2, the chick is beginning to grow blood vessels throughout the yolk. So you'll be able to see little blood vessels popping up. And then by day 5, the chick has a heartbeat, a spinal cord, and eyes. Now it's just the start of eyes. The eyes aren't completely developed, but if you were looking, you would be able to see the start of an eye. On day 6, the limbs are being formed. So what will become the wings and the legs are being formed. And you can actually see little separations of fingers. Now you're going, Mrs. Carvalho, are you crazy? Chickens don't have fingers. And they don't, but they have little separations of bones that look like sort of phalanges or little fingers that are part of both the wings and the feet. By day 10, their body is colored in what we call feather follicles, which are the places where the feathers are going to grow. And the beak and egg tooth are visible. So the egg tooth is a pointy little part on the end of the beak. It falls off after the chick grows a little bit, but the egg tooth is there for helping to crack out through the egg. On 17 to 21, the embryo is going to absorb the white and the yolk, the contents of the egg, for energy, and it prepares to hatch. When the chick is hatched, it will continue to grow into an adult chicken. And we know it's an adult chicken when it's capable of reproducing on its own. That covers bird life cycles.